Hopefully this will switch my audio up. Let me just double check. Okay, I think I just switched my audio, so hopefully that will be better for you. Always forget to turn something on. Ah. All right. Well, good morning. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I ventured out a little bit. I'm kind of been sticking to home a lot, but we went out to a little kind of like a farmer's market where things were like outdoors, so you can buy them so and masks and everything. So we went out and we got some peaches and nectarines, and we brought them home. And so I've been making peach related food. A couple of days ago, I made this excellent peaches and chicken. And last night, I made a peach and custard pie, and I haven't touched it yet because it was still warm right before bedtime. So I just stuck it in the fridge, and we will get to try it today. All experiments. The peaches and chicken were awesome. So that was kind of fun just to get out just a little bit, kind of in a safe way because I haven't. I'm still doing Instacart for grocery shopping. I'm such a chicken, but I think I work with a husband who is in healthcare informatics, and we know too much, and I think it just spooks us a lot. So we're just kind of hunkering down and staying safe. And so I hope you guys are staying safe too. And that's kind of the most important thing right now, right? So today is Casing Tuesday, and that is the day when we take a card out of the catalog. It can be any one of the Stampin' Up catalogs, and we give it a makeover. We all do the same card each week, and this week we have a card which I kind of like the layout for. I actually I really love cards that have lots of layers and that they're defined. I find those easier to do for my brain than I do kind of an open sort of layout where you just kind of have a free for all. So I think you'll like this layout. It's kind of cool. Let me show you the original card. Oh, here we are. So here is the original card. It's on page 70 of the regular catalog. And I just love those little white panels. You could plug in whatever you have, smaller images or pieces of bigger images. I think it would even look nice with little panels of designer series paper there. So you could definitely, there's a lot of scope for the imagination with this one. And there's already a few really great samples posted. So I really like that. And we've kind of condensed down, oh, here we go, the layout too, right here. And here are some suggested uh, panel sizes. So hopefully that will help you with your figuring out your card. I also have posted my measurements for my card, which I'll show you in a second, to the blog because I always go just probably a little bit off of what the original measurements are just because um, I just adapt to whatever stamps that I have and stuff. Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to pop over here and just have a look. We have a few people with us this morning. Thank you for joining me. Karen, I am doing great. I am enjoying. I can't wait to try the peach pie. I think sometimes with food, I'm more excited about trying it out to see how good it is, and then I always tweak recipes. Oh my gosh, I'm always tweaking recipes, so I'm kind of interested to see how this one turned out. I fully have the sugar in this recipe, and I think it's still going to be plenty sweet. I'm like, I wonder sometimes when people make recipes, like, why so much sugar? Because we're all supposed to be reducing sugar, and I'm like, we could just reduce half, and it would still be sweet enough. I'm interested to see if my hunch was right that it had tons of sugar in it, so I could just like reduce it just in half. So can't wait to try that out. It's like a science experiment. So much fun, right? Just like crafting is, you know, crafting and cooking, you know, a little bit of science, try and figure things out. Okay, let me pop over to my other camera. Here we are. So I used the Posted for You bundle. So this is how my card came out. I think it turned out really cute. I love those little postage stamps. They do look like little postage stamps. If they had a little amount, like a number in the corner or forever on them for US stamps, I think they would really, really look like postage stamps. So I think this is such a fun card. So I'm going to show you how I made it. Let me set this aside. So this is the Posted for You bundle. This one's in the annual catalog, and I love punches. They're fun, quick layers. So I love having a postage stamp. This is called the Rectangular Postage Stamp Punch. That's a big mouthful. And then the Posted for You stamp set is in the annual catalog. And then there's another stamp set. Let me grab my holiday catalog. Which is now actually called the mini catalog again. So, you know, I've got all these little marks in here. Let me see if I can find the other stamp set that matches. Where would you be? You know, whenever I have to find something quickly. Let me look at the stamp set names. Okay, I'm looking for it, and I still can't see it. Shoot. All right, I'm gonna just have to flip through here and see if I can find it. There's another stamp set that matches this punch. So I wanted to find it and show it to you. I don't have it yet. It's amazing to me. I have so many stamp sets, and I can't find the one that. Shoot, where is it? No, it's not. It's not near the beginning. It must be near the closer to the end than I thought it was. All right. It doesn't help that I have all these little tags in here. These are things that I'm still interested in. Oh, here it is. It's called Festive Post. That's it. See, aren't these really cute? And these also match that punch. So you could also make a little kind of postage stamp type images with this one too, if you didn't like necessarily the one in the annual catalog, or maybe you want both. So that's kind of fun. All right, let's get down and create the card. And I'm going to start with a piece of Whisper White, and the image from the Posted for You stamp is just the little floral image. And I'm just going to ink this up and stamp it 3 times. I need to leave enough space in between each of these so that I can punch them up. Let's see how I did. Here is the punch. So I kind of want to angle it. I hope I left myself enough white space, but that looks pretty good, I think. Oh shoot, I'm gonna have to angle each one of these. Grabbing a piece of scissors. Note. I should have angled this a little better. Oh my gosh. All right, now I just cut off the wrong piece. Okay, let me see if I can get this angled on here. Okay, here we go. I thought I was doing a good thing by angling this, but I think I ended up cutting off too much. Yeah, I did. I'm gonna have to stamp it one more time. Oh. That's what happens when I try and squeeze too many things onto one piece. would have been better had I stamped and punched each image as I went along. And that way I would have known how much space and how to angle it. All right, there I go. Let's get those out of the way. Let's put that away for now. So I've got these three little guys, and now I'm gonna pull out some colors. I'm gonna need Highland Heather, Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, Just Jade. That's not Just Jade. I'm going to need one more, Flirty Flamingo. And I think I'm using all the darks. So they come with a light and a dark, but I just pulled all the darks. So I'm going to just do all the leaves first. I'll use my bullet tip. And there's not a lot of room for shading, so I'm going to just let the dark lines of the stamp image do my shading for me. So I'm just going to really quickly just hit all the leaves. With my Just Jade Dark. And Just Jade is one of our new in colors this year. It's a really nice green. I love jade. Actually, my home province of British Columbia in Canada, I live in the US, but I'm from Canada. We have jade. We produce jade in BC. So often in like tourist shops, you'll see jade. And jade was my grandmother's one of the favorite pieces of rock or whatever, or you could make jewelry out of it. And it was one of the favorites of my grandmother. So I like the color too. It does really look like jade. And then we're going to work with the colors. I'm going to use, this is Highland Heather, and it's the dark. So you could use the brush tip, but you'd have to be really careful because this is a tiny image. So I'm just kind of coming in and just really just trying to fill in the flower with the bullet tip. It doesn't take very long, but of course if you're watching me, you might think, wow, this is taking a while. So that's Highland Heather Dark. And then I'm going to come in with Daffodil Delight, and this is also the dark. And as I go along and do this, it becomes easier and faster because you kind of understand where you have to color. And then just one more flower. I love Stampin' Blends because they're so dark, right? And the little points, like everything kind of blends together, so you don't see any kind of marker lines. And then Flirty Flamingo, and I'm going to just do the same. I chose 3 different colors of flowers. I love it when there's like different colors of flowers together. I think they really complement each other. You could also just choose to do one color, like do all purple or all pink or all yellow, but I like the contrast in the different colors. If this had a larger area or less lines, I would like think, oh yeah, I'm gonna do some shading, but this is so small that I'm just not gonna bother with the shading. So now you can come in with Pumpkin Pie using the bullet tip again, and I'm just gonna highlight just the center, the stamen, just a little bit. It's just gonna highlight things just a little bit. color it a different, you probably will see very little on the Flirty Flamingo because Flamingo has a lot of orange in it. So that's how I did the coloring. And then let's finish things off. So this background piece right here is a piece of just jade, and it measures 4 inches by 2.5 inches. And what we're going to do is mount all the pieces on here. And the way I like to do it is do the center one first and make sure it is centered. Okay, so whenever I have to line up a bunch of these, there's always an easy way and a hard way to do things. And this is the easy way because you've got this piece, and I think you can pretty much eyeball it. If you want, you could make yourself a centering mark at 2 inches, but I think you can do a pretty good job of just getting this to be pretty close to dead center. Yeah, that looks good. And then when you've got that down, you can press that down. And then this one, I'm going to put maybe 1/4 of an inch apart. And then it's really easy to line it up with this one right here. So you've kind of got your 1/4 inch mark right there. And then finally, your last piece. And we're going to do that 1/4 inch. And now I am definitely looking right here to make sure those are even and about the same distance. And make sure they're lined up. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And now what I'm going to do is I have this background piece, and I don't know if you noticed, but I have this embossing folder in the background. Sorry. And I want to use this embossing folder on the back right there. So I had to cut myself a separate panel in order to do that. And this one is 5.5 by 4.25. It extends the full width of the card. And I'm going to bring in my stamp, cut, and emboss machine because this will be, you can order, as a customer, you can start ordering this in September. So I want to show it off. It's not available yet. But here we go. I love that all the plates are labeled. So we come down to the base plate number 1, and we're going to look at, we don't want to die cut, we're going to emboss, and it tells you what to do. This is a standard embossing folder. So we're going to use 1 base plate. So your number 1, this is the base plate, and then you're going to use a clear plate, number 3, says number 3. So you put that down, and then we have the embossing folder, and the way I'm going to emboss this is I'm going to have some come from the top and some come from the bottom. So I'm just centering this on the embossing folder, and I'm making sure there's about equal vegetation on the top and the bottom. I'm going to rotate this and make sure it's straight. Okay, I'm just being finicky now. All right, that looks good. And then I'll take my other plate and stick it on top. We want the hinge to go first. It also says that right on the platform too. And then I'm just going to run this through the machine. And here is my embossed piece. So that's how that works. Really easy. Okay, and then I've got a purple posy cardstock base. This color was purple posy here. And this was just a half sheet of cardstock, 8.5 by 5.5, and scored in half at the 4 1/4 inch mark. And then we're going to just adhere this piece to the front of the card. So this was on the original card too, this embossed layer. And what I like about embossing is that it stays in the background and it doesn't distract you from the main image. It's subtle, it's there, it adds to the card, but it doesn't overpower it, and it doesn't steal the thunder of what you want the focal point to be. And the focal point in this card is these flowers. So you want the focus to be on that. Sometimes when we put too much in the background, the foreground image is overwhelmed. So that's why I really like using an embossing folder in the background. So then we'll just add some Tombow to this piece. And this one gets centered as well. I'm just checking to make sure that it looks centered. And just do one last check. That looks good. Now there's one little greeting we want to put coming across here. I'm just going to grab a little piece of soft sea foam that measures 3 inches by 1/2 inch. And then there's a greeting right here in the stamp set, and it says, "Sending love your way." And that's just a really nice greeting. You know, you could use this card for so many different occasions, you know, because sending love your way, it could be a birthday card, stamp happy birthday on this inside, it could be a thinking of you card. There's so many different ways to use this. So I'm just going to center this on here. I did trim up my stamp a little bit so that I could see a little better where I was stamping. I don't use the stickers that come with my stamp sets. I just don't. For many years, the stickers weren't that clingy, so I didn't use them, and I got used to it. So you don't have to use them. I am very comfortable with having the back being blank, just as long as I know what the image is. And also the other thing I do for my stamps is I always put my images right underneath. So this little bird image, I put it right here. So I always know by looking at the front where each stamp is. I know where happy birthday is because it's right underneath here. So for me, it's not an issue in terms of not putting the stickers on. The one thing I find, I can trim my stamps a little bit easier if I don't put my stickers on. And so I can have them a little closer to the edges, which allows me to minimize like getting accidentally catching an edge on a stamp. I've actually trimmed all of these, so I can't even show you. I'm wondering if I have another stamp set. No, this is photopolymer, where I haven't trimmed the images yet, and then you know sometimes you can really easily catch an edge because it's sticking out a little bit too far, but that's why I trim them down nice and small for that purpose. Okay, so now I want to add this to the front here, and I'm just going to use some mini dimensionals. I could use regular size dimensionals too, but I didn't want them to peek out. I wanted them to be kind of, you know, little minimalist. So you couldn't really see them from the edges. So then I'll just remove the backings. And one more. And then you can just add this to the front. And again, this one I did center, but you could move it over a little bit if you wanted to, especially maybe if you wanted to add a little bit of ribbon to it. I didn't. Oh, I got that straight. Sorry, I've sneezed. I'm a little bit allergic right now, but I like to have the windows open, so it's my fault. I like fresh air, pollen and all. So there's the card. that wasn't too hard. The coloring took just a little bit of time, but not that much time at all, really. And it's just so pretty. It is a little springy, so I tried to keep with the color theme of the original card. Let me come back over here. Hey, let me come back and just show you the original card. So see, there's the original card, and it did have a kind of a spring-like look to it, and I wanted to kind of keep the colors. So here's my card. I changed up the colors just a wee bit, but it ended up having a bit of a spring feel to it. So if you wanted to create kind of more of a fall looking card, what I would do is just change out the colors. Maybe use the yellow in the background. I am not a big fan of too much yellow because I just never think it looks good with too much yellow. So I always kind of, my yellow in cards you'll probably find is very minimalist. So I try and stay away from it. But let me think what other colors we could use for fall. You know, I would maybe go into the greens. Maybe well, we already have a green on there. We could use maybe cinnamon cider as a background, or so saffron, which is like, it is kind of a yellow. But choose a color that you like as the background card, and I think it will work for you. I really, really like this layout. I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. If you liked any of the supplies I talked about today, make sure you check out my blog. The link is down below, and you can just pop on over there. There's also a link to the Casing Tuesday Facebook group if you're not already a member. You can absolutely ask to be a member, and then you can share your card with us too, because that's the fun thing. The casing of cards or the copying of cards, I mean, I could do that all day long by myself, but it's a lot more fun with friends. So I love to see what everyone comes up with. Let me pop over the comments and see if there's anything that I need to talk about. Thank you so much for joining me today, too. Let me just look to see. Thank you so much for joining me, everyone. I see a friend from Victoria. Hi, Miran. People from all over the place. Wisconsin, California, from Denmark. Wow. From Washington State. How lovely. Well, thank you so much for joining me this morning, and get over there to the Casing Tuesday Facebook group and post your card so we can see what you're going to do with it. It's a really great layout. If you don't have the postage, the stamp punch, you can just use a regular Whisper White layer cut into a rectangle. If you paper craft, you must have a cutter or some sort of device to cut things into layers, and rectangles are very easy to cut. So this is a card that anyone could do. All right, guys, I hope you have a great week, and I am going to be back on Friday on my YouTube channel with a new project for you guys for the week. All right, take care. Bye-bye.